Recording in progress.
Okay, I'd like to call the annual reorganizational meeting of July 14th, 2025 to order. Can we please stand for the pledge?
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, we do have roll call and we'll move on to approval of the agenda. Could I please have a motion to approve the July 14th, 2025 reorganizational and regular meeting of the Board of Education agenda?
So moved. Second.
So Tom and Victor. Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Okay, next we'd like to administer the oaths of office to the new Board of Education members. I'll start with Thomas Bull.
Yes.
Yes, Thomas.
Now far away from the mic. One step to the left.
If you could please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I do solemnly swear
I do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the
and the Constitution of the State of New York,
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties of the office of the Baldwinsville Central School District Board of Education member
and I will faithfully discharge the duties of the office of Baldwinsville Central School Board of Education member
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my ability.
Thank you.
We're a good team today. It was a smooth day. Keep it up.
Oh, I'm sorry, you have more. I apologize. You're right.
Uncle Wayne, I've got to make sure it's those.
Next is Wayne Davidson Jr. Will you please raise your right hand and repeat after me? I do solemnly swear
I do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of New York,
and the Constitution of the State of New York,
and I will faithfully discharge the duties
and I will faithfully discharge the duties
of the office of Baldwinsville Central School District Board of Education member
of the office of Baldwinsville Central School District Board of Education member
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my abilities.
Sherry Shraven will do her oath at the next meeting. So next is the administration of the oath of the superintendent of schools. Please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States
I do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of New York,
and the Constitution of the State of New York,
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties of the office of superintendent of the Baldwinsville Central School District
and I will faithfully discharge the duties of Office of the Superintendent of the Baldwinsville Central School District
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my ability.
To election of the oath and election and oath of the office of the President of the Board of Education. Is there a motion for nomination for president? Okay, nomination for Victor Jenkins.
solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of New York,
and the Constitution of the State of New York,
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties
and I will faithfully discharge the duties
of the office of President of the Baldwinsville Central School District Board of Education
of the office of the President of the Baldwinsville Central School District Board of Education
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my ability.
Thank you.
Okay, well, thank you. Before we move any further, it might be appropriate to take a moment of silence and remember a class of 2025 graduate that we lost recently, James and Jimmy Bryan. So let's observe a moment of silence in his honor and the family's honor. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, moving ahead, resolve the nomination be in order for the office of Vice President of the Board of Education of the Baldwinsville Central School District at that board's discretion. Vice President has the same powers as President if the President is absent or incapacitated. And the floor is open for nominations.
I'd like to nominate Andrew Henty for Vice President.
Second. Okay. Andrew's been nominated. Those in favor? Aye. Those opposed? Motion carries. Congratulations, Andrew.
I like that a lot, because you feel warm. It's been a while.
We couldn't wait to get rid of you. Couldn't wait.
I mean, why are you looking at me? You're not saying a lot. But over here. Yeah, we got room for you.
Okay, please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I do solemnly swear
I do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of New York,
and the Constitution of the State of New York,
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties of
and I will faithfully discharge the duties of
the office of Baldwinsville Central School District Board of Education member.
the office of
I'm
Vice
sorry.
President of the Baldwinsville Central School District Board of Education member,
Vice
according to my
President,
ability.
yes, thank you. According to the best of your ability. Thank you.
most of the appointments we do are on an annual basis. And you have that information, what we are doing to try to save a little bit of time, is grouping these. So when we have the group, you can ask questions on any of them, although you do know on your board docs, you had explanations of any changes if there were any. Okay? So moving along, resolve the Board of Education approve appointments of officers, section 6, items B through F. Tom? Luke? Are there any questions or discussion on any of those? Very, very few changes there. Okay, ready? Proceed to vote. Those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. Now it's, resolve the Board of Education approve other appointments. This is section 7, items B through CC. And essentially, a few changes, a few small increases in pay, which obviously is needed, and a couple of title changes. I don't see anything major out there, do you?
No, just change in person.
Okay. And, did we get a motion on that?
No.
Okay.
So,
Thank you, Jeremy. Don? Okay. Are there any questions or discussion on those items? Okay, that did update the audit committee, which changed, and of course, reappointed Bill Chambers, who served last year. Okay, seeing no discussion, move to a vote. Those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Now, next we resolve Board of Education approve designations, section 8, items B through F. Motion? Wayne, Andrew, depositories, et cetera. Any thoughts there? Anyone? Okay. Proceed to vote. Those in favor? Those opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Resolve the Board of Education approve authorizations, section 9, items B through H. Motion, please. Don? Luke? And again, not too many changes. We are changing some credit cards there, it looks like.
That we approved the $500 credit cards for all secondary buildings in the BEST program last January, when we created the need for that. The only other change from the reorg meeting last year was that we are adding a $5,000 card for the visual and performing arts department, which is consistent to what we have for our athletics department.
And the cards, of course, is great because it provides you an audit film and everything. Correct. Any thoughts? Okay, proceed to vote. Those in favor? Aye. Those opposed? Motion carries. Resolved that the Baldwinsville Central School District utilize a faithful performance blanket bond and those specific performance bonds for 2025-2026 fiscal year. Motion. Move.
Second.
Jeremy? So, we've done this several years. Tiffany, can you give us 20 words to explain the difference here?
Yes, so in lieu of having vehicle performance bonds for individual employees or elected officials, we have a blanket bond that covers all of them.
Okay, let's, any thoughts?
is that sent by someone other than us?
IRS, yeah.
We should always use the IRS rates, yeah. Okay.
I'm sorry, have we had the building use fee in the past?
Yeah, just,
Oh, I'm sorry. I just questioned the building use fee, that's the same as what we had.
yes, we talked about, we don't really see a need to increase that. To be quite honest with you, most of the groups that are utilizing our facilities, if it coincides when we already have custodial staff, and it's not extending, work hours, we usually don't end up charging anybody anyway. But if we have to charge, it's the rate that's been consistent for the last several years.
Okay, any other questions, discussion? Those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. And, wow. That's the conclusion of our reorg meeting. That was pretty good, that was very helpful, and the fact that all these pages were tabbed was more than helpful for me, okay? Wow.
We will thank Kristen for that.
Okay, so that concludes our regular meeting. Now resolve the Board of Education enter into the general session of the regular Board of Education meeting.
So moved.
Don? Wayne? I guess we do need to vote on that. Okay. I assume there's not too many questions on that, so we'll proceed to vote. Those in favor? Those opposed? Okay, motion carries. We will go into our regular session, and the first thing I have on here is correspondence, board activities, and committee reports. One thing to notice, the graduation ceremony was a big hit. The air conditioning wasn't a big hit, but I think you had some good news to report on that,
I
right?
do, yes. So we're thankful, Chris Denton and his staff, working with the fairground, we are receiving a reduction in the rate, because they ran into an issue with their system. It wasn't functioning the way that it needed to be functioning, which we all experienced. So we're getting basically half off our fee. So that's a positive for us, and we're working to set the date and get everything in place for the 2026 graduation at this point. So
What is the date on that? That's okay.
it's the 21st, 20th, June 20th.
All right, I'm just gonna make one quick request, is that
Yes.
all right? It was an amazing graduation, the second year in a row I forgot to make this. I know B&W Sound, I think Dustin Bolton does the sound. If they could put a monitor in front
Yes.
of us on the stage, so we can hear your speeches.
Yeah.
that'd be
You couldn't hear, could you?
I agree.
And my other suggestion might be closed caption
Yep.
on the screen.
And I do think that's something that we will be able to do, given the fact that all of the speeches, for the most part, are, nobody's speaking on the spot.
And there was monitors down for the musicians, that you could almost hear them, and we're obviously behind the main system. So, with the echo and stuff, if they just put a monitor right in front of us, which I almost asked him, because I saw Dustin sitting over there. I'm sure it's very easy to do, he just didn't know.
My hope, I'm not 100% sure, but I believe in the state budget, at least it was in the governor's proposal, I don't know if it made it to the final round, but I believe they were supposed to be addressing the sound system in that expo center. So if not, we'll work through that with the folks that we run from.
Also, another, just 2 cents, I was pleased to see that they have ramps on both sides of the stage, because I know last year they didn't. So, kudos to whoever made that change. So that,
Okay, the other thing is, the school board got a shout out for your contribution to keep the ball rolling, after the, prom, right, against prom, or what do we call it, ball. So you got a shout out there, that's something, nice, as did district administration, you have, supported, so, great how many years has that been going? I remember when it started out, but it's been a great addition to the,
12, 13 years, probably.
what was that paper? Is that the New York Times?
that's, it's a Wall Street Journal.
I got it.
Oh, boy. Okay. So, with that, I think we'll continue on. So, also coming up here is July 31st is the law conference put on by the Ferrara Forenza, and it's right here at the, is it still Doubletree?
Doubletree,
Yeah, Harris Circle. So tell Christie if you want to sign up for that. It's usually very good. We went last year. It's pretty informative. It's a full day. Well, full day, what, 8 to 3:30?
Yeah, any board member interested, you can just shoot Chrissy an email and we'll get you registered. Some of the cabinet members are going, and I think we're.
I signed up to go. Yeah. Cute. So, okay. Then Friday, also they're doing the leadership conference, the New York State School Board Association, doing their leadership conference August 1st and 2nd. And I think, Wayne, I think you might have signed up for that, great. And Beeville was asked to do a panel, and Joe and Andrew and Evie are gonna go over and be on the panel, talking about student board members. So that'll be exciting. And is there anything else, I guess, coming up? These others are our future board sessions inside. Anybody else have anything to report this time? So I did see in the June 30th issue of On Board, which comes out from the New York State School Board Association, it says here that Baldwinsville board members received board excellence awards. Wayne Davidson, Luke Gasowski, and I can't read this last name, Andrew Hinty, for and this is time that you spent at education sessions, so congratulations on that. And also I see our friend from Fayetteville Manlius, Gerald Wheeler, got a lifetime achievement award, those are really tough to get, I understand, really tough. So, anyway. So we'll move on real quick. Resolve the Board of Education approve the consent agenda. Oh, I'm sorry, I missed that. Oh, request, my fault, excuse me. Okay, so we do like to hear from the public, and we ask them that they do limit their time to about 3 minutes. Do we have any requests to speak? Tiffany?
Yes, we do. David Stewart, regarding Baldwinsville.
Sorry about my signature.
It's
I didn't
okay.
bring my glasses so I couldn't see what I was writing.
Football.
You got it, thank you. Good. All right. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen of the board. Thank you for allowing me a few minutes to speak about this topic. My name is David Stewart. I'm a 1993 graduate of Baldwinsville High School. I'm here in support of a petition that's circulating on social media to have the football field at Pelcher Arcaro Stadium named after Coach Carl Sanfilippo. There's about 700 plus people that have signed on to this petition at this point. So I graduated in 1993. I've been involved with the Baldwinsville football program since 1987, which is basically about the start of when Coach Sanfilippo took over. He started in 1985, so I come around in 87. So I played for Coach for 3 years. I was involved in the program, obviously all the way from 7th until 12th. And then afterwards, I've maintained contact with Coach. I serve on the Baldwinsville Football Alumni Association board. I helped form that not-for-profit company, and it tries to engage the alumni to continue to support the football program. As far as Coach, when I think of Coach Sanfilippo, I don't think of the X's and the O's and the wins and losses and the championships, any of that sort of thing when I think back to my time spent as a player, I think mostly of the values and things that he instilled in the players. Honesty, integrity, hard work, grit, determination, strength, things like this. Perseverance, life lessons that I think back to, opposed to just, on-field, accomplishments. So the 3-minute time allotment here is nowhere near enough to cover the myriad of accomplishments Coach has had on the athletic field. But I think the thing that's important is the impact that he made on not only the players, but also on the students as well. And so I wasn't here for Coach Pelcher. I don't know Coach Pelcher. I was here for Coach Arcaro, and he was my gym teacher in 6th grade, and I was in the building the day that they announced that he had passed away. And I saw the impact that that had on all the people, all the students, the faculty. And you could tell that he made an incredible impact on the people and the students in this community with his work as a teacher and a coach. And I can say without question in my mind that Coach Sanfilippo has the same impact on a number of players and people in this community. And what you learn about Coach after you're not a player any longer is you learn about the behind the scenes things that he takes care of, and the help that he gives, and the phone calls that he gets. And now, being in the professional world and being able to help him with some of these things, I'm the recipient of a number of these phone calls where they're asking for Coach's help, and it's the craziest kind of things that you can come up with, but it just speaks to the level of impact that he's had on the people in this community. So I think, when we were thinking about someone that has dedicated this level of commitment, this amount of time, has accomplished what he's accomplished, I don't think there's anybody more deserving than to have the football field named after him. I don't think, no one's obviously asking to change the name of the stadium, but to dedicate the field to Coach Sanfilippo, I think would be a fitting accomplishment for someone that has spent 40 years as a coach, a mentor, a friend, an advocate, and that amount of time to a program, a school, a community, I think is worthy of that, honor. So I'd ask the board to consider a resolution, naming the field in his honor. We'd like to have it as soon as possible. They're hoping that this can be done before the first game of the season, which I think is September 4th. And that no one's asking at this point that anything be physically done to the field. It's more just, so they can name it, and they're trying to plan an alumni event around it so they can bring a bunch of the guys back and a bunch of the people he's impacted. So that's it. Thank you.
Thank you. This is not normally a question and answer session, but
I'd love the question and answer.
Well, I will say, if you've got other thoughts, please put them in an email to us. You can email that. And the thing that happened with Leo Johnson naming of the gym, was there was a petition with somewhere between 1,100 and 1,200 signatures that was presented to Joe, and then the board took up the question. We will have a board meeting August 3rd, August 4th. Sure. And then we have a work session in 2 weeks after that.
So I'd be happy to provide the petition circulating now.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, David.
Okay, thanks for turning that mic on. Okay, now moving on, resolve Board of Education approve consent agenda pursuant to the attached. We have Luke and Wayne. In here, is this some title changes in here? Yes. Okay, we're changing the title on a safety officer, and I just don't want that to be inferred that there's any less emphasis on safety. Those duties will be paramount for one of the employees. So I'm going to just talk about that.
Yeah, so we feel like we can get a highly qualified person. We've done interviews for the safety officer. We actually had an appointment. That person backed out, and we had to rescind that appointment. Given the fact that we've exhausted what we believe to be a qualified list for civil service, with the shift in our director of transportation being promoted to from assistant director to director, we're looking at abolishing the safety officer position and just having the, both director and assistant director. So, there's no, increase in what we budgeted for salaries for these positions. The assistant director can do the work of the safety officer. It's a higher class, civil service title, and we think we'll be able to get, and attract higher quality candidates, for the open position. So we are not eliminating safety. Safety is a priority between the director and what will be the assistant director.
Okay, anything else in there to talk about? Any questions?
So, actually, a little less in terms of personnel than we had last time.
Okay, no further discussion, then proceed to vote. Those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carried. And now, back to some annual duties. I apologize. So, back to item A, resolve that the Board of Education approve consent agenda contract agreements, section 17, items B through Q. Wayne? Larry? Luke? I see some fee increases here, but I don't think there's much else, is there?
No, the only, one that really stands out, it's a new agreement, is the Draco's, support services agreement. We do work with, Well Now Urgent Care, and so this is another urgent care, for, doing testing with our bus drivers and other employees that need their routine physicals. So that is a new agreement this year. Other than that, no real significant changes from the majority. There were a few fee increases, based on, the 24-25 rates, but in line with, cost of living and cost of doing business, changes from year to year.
Further discussion? Okay, move to a vote then. Those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. And then the next item would be textbook adoption. Resolve the Board of Education approve the textbook adoption of Race, Ethnicity, Gender, and Class by Joseph Healy, Andy Stepnick, and Eileen O'Brien, used in grade 9 social studies, lived experiences, intersectionality, and society classes pursuant to be attached. Motion. Tom? Wayne? I have a question. I thought the title of that class was being changed to something else.
This is the correct title.
Okay.
Yeah, it was a different title before, and this more closely aligns with the content in the course, and it is an elective course.
And I do, we had some of those texts, a couple, I did go through one, Andrew, you looked through one. It's almost like, reading a history lesson, what happened. Anyway, any thoughts or discussions?
Sorry.
It's okay. I asked it, it's your prerogative, go ahead.
I looked through it, I did some research on it. And I think, we've been pretty good at discussing these things here. I'm not criticizing the book by saying what I'm about to say to describe it, because I think the book would welcome this description. It's a critical theory throughout. I'm actually, because I'm a nerd, spent some time looking through critical theory and its underpinning philosophy and where it comes from, and I happen to think critical theory is nonsense, but it's certainly worth talking about. it's a Marxist, neo-Marxist point of view. This book in particular really attacks capitalism as being the root of holding up racial hierarchies. With little anecdotal evidence, which is typical, I think, from this system of thought. It makes some pretty incredible claims, in my view. And again, I'm not afraid of this book. I'm critiquing it here because I actually care about race and I care about equality. I just happen to think that this is not the best philosophy that addresses it, but I know it's the most popular right now in academics. And so I just, I want to mention that because I think it seems to me, and here's where I don't want to speak out of turn. It seems to be what we're feeding the kids over. And I know it's what is happening in universities. I mean, one of my closest friends is a teacher, there's a teacher of teachers at Oswego State. And I know when you're learning to be a teacher, I think this is the ruling philosophy as it pertains to race and gender and equality. And I hope that the teachers that are recommending this actually listen to our board meeting. We're going to have a discussion about it. Because again, I don't want to keep books out. I'm not offended by this book other than I just happen to think it's wrong and it's a bad philosophy for our kids in addressing the very issues that the book claims to address. I would love it if our teachers would put it alongside Thomas Sowell or some other academics who have the contrary view to this book. Because I don't think critical theory is good for our kids. I think its claims are erroneous, and I think the scholarship behind it is bad, but I think it should be debated. I'm not saying this ignorantly about this book. It literally claims to be drawing from neo-Marxist ideas. It's not, its claims are that there is a systematic drive of racism and the compounding claim of intersectionality being a compounding thing that keeps people down. That there is systematic things in our system, and it comes from a critical theory, more specifically critical race theory philosophy. I just don't want that to be the only thing I write, that to be the only thing our students see, that to be the only thing our students read. I actually think there's a better point of view as it pertains to race. But my opinion, someone can tell me I'm crazy, but I think there is a very academically sound view from people like Thomas Sowell and others that have written well on this topic. But it's not, it's a more conservative point of view than a progressive point of view. But if this is all our kids are getting fed, I don't think it's great. And so I don't love it.
That does raise a good question. Do they have access to other theories?
So the first thing I'll say is that I just want to remind the board that any textbook that we purchase for our courses is not the curriculum. It's a resource. The teacher that's teaching this course has already been in to build the course and has done so without the book, and is not building the course based on the content of the book. So the way that the teacher is looking at this course is tying it into the seal of civic readiness, that by the time the students finish the course, it's an elective, it's a half-year course, they will be able to achieve some of the points that they need for the seal of civic readiness. So this particular teacher is very passionate about history and civics education, and I have no qualms that our students would be able to be exposed to multiple viewpoints and to other texts, as you're suggesting. because I think that as a history specialist, history nerd, themselves, they are, very aware of the political climate, very aware that our, students need to function in society as a whole. And so very, very conscious of that, and I personally have no qualms. I'm very confident in this teacher. This teacher has multiple years of experience as an educator in a different set of hands. Necessarily maybe a new teacher, I would be less probably confident and not as, yeah, I feel like, I take your point. The book does state very, right in the beginning that this is not meant to be a textbook that addresses all viewpoints. So it's very, very clear, that the authors of this text, put that right out there. So, I'd have to go back and check about the neo-Marxist claim, but, I'll take your word for it right now. You know, they say trust but verify. So I will take a look at that as well.
So I can help you out a couple of things now, before sort of sharing my thoughts on this. The neo-Marxist is a little bit off. There's no neo in here. And the reason I say that is because I ran schools in China for 14 years. And this text is exactly the structure. It's the template that is used specifically in politics classes over there. I recognize the need. It's an easy read for me because this is how they write. And the ideas in the book don't differ particularly from the topic class. So, Rick, I like what you said. You said it was almost like a history lesson. Almost is the key word there. I'm saying as this teacher, my certification is in history, secondary history, 712, and so, and I've been around for a lot of history, and seen a lot of it, had fun with a lot of it, but I'm not sure that that's actually I'd be interested to know which alternate texts. I get stuck on certain things. So when we say this, the teachers that developed the curriculum for this course didn't use this book. I'm not sure why we're buying that. I'm not sure why it's being used here. If it's for this thing, we don't need it, then we don't need it. I'm not sure that that's what's being said. I'm not sure if we're saying that it's not needed for the course. And I'm just wondering why we're presenting a text instead of a group of texts. Because if this is the direction that the course is going to go, I'd also like to see some balance to it. I'd like to see those other texts out. I'd like those to come before the board for equal criticism. But that's not really where my major thoughts are on this. So back in April, we looked at our report card as a district. And some of the things that stood out to me were that our state assessments in grades 3 through 8, basically for 8 years, our numbers haven't changed. Statistically, haven't really changed. There hasn't been a lot of statistical change in student performance. The one area is ELA. I think that moved up about 6% from the 16-17 school year to last school year. From 46 to about, and I was looking at the little bar graph, so I'm kind of guesstimating those numbers. The graph's not small. So approximately 46, approximately 52. But ELA was the highest performing. Nothing else broke 51. That's concerning to me as a member of the board. K-9 universal screenings, we had 29% of our K-9 students either requiring intervention or on the watch list for intervention.
So, you have your thought, but just, those scores relate to this textbook?
Yes, it relates to my concern about this. K-9, 29% for reading were either requiring intervention or unwatched intervention. It's 32% for math. So one in three kids for math either need intervention for math or a watch list for it. 29% in K through 9 for reading. Our Regents performance scores, we don't really know that much about it because to Victor's point a couple of weeks ago, we may be comparing the, apples and oranges. But again, not terribly great. My point here is that we're talking about a book for a class that I think we ought to be focusing a little more on the cores. We've got some pretty sad numbers in certain areas, in my opinion. I think these numbers could be a lot better. I think they should be a lot better. And I think they can be a lot better. I think we've got great faculty, I think we've got great administration. And I think if we focus more on some of these scores, we can improve things for kids. And so this is how it relates. I'm not particularly concerned with the content of the book because it's pretty much nonsense. This is a 498-page editorial, in my opinion. I don't think that I can't find in there, I went through all 498 pages. I don't see any academic rigor in there, any genuine academic rigor in there. I don't see a normed study in there. I see a lot of references. I see a lot of references of things pulled out of other texts, other sources. I don't see a lot of actual history. I see a lot of opinions about history, and that's fine. Nothing wrong with a book that does that. But this gets back to the earlier discussion. What else are we presenting? And this book that's coming to the board, I'm not sure that this is this book or this course even is the priority that we ought to be focusing on at this point. I think we've got an awful lot that we can improve on in core academics, and I think we should be doing that. Are courses like this good and valuable? Are they good for kids? Does it contribute to critical thinking and to different ways of understanding the world and the people around us? Absolutely. I just think it's a misplaced priority, and I'm not sure that this is great for where we want to go. So I'll leave it at that.
And a point I would like to make to that, because I think part of why we offer some of these courses, and again, this is an elective, right? Parents can choose if they want their student to participate or not. When I think about our core courses, especially our global courses, that's a 2-year course, it's jam-packed with facts and things that kids have to regurgitate on that Regents exam. And I think a course like this, it focuses on not just what happened, but to who it happened, and it provides the context and the conditions in when what these things, when they occurred and how they occurred. I think it gives kids an opportunity to delve a little bit deeper into, like, who were these people that were, we're talking about in history in our core courses. I would argue that this supports our pre-global and our global courses, excuse me, at that level. And by giving those students who choose to take this course an opportunity to dig a little bit deeper. And, but I don't disagree with you that, I guess, across the board, whether it's social studies or science or English, that we always have the opportunity to improve in making sure that our students are critical thinkers and they're critical writers.
So I just want to add, so there may be other texts available here that are already approved. We're only going to approve new texts, right? If there's other books they're using, that they've been using in the past, they wouldn't come to us.
So that's a great question. Is there any Milton Friedman that is going to be in classrooms? Any Paulo?
I could certainly look. I would not be able to tell you off the top of my head the textbooks that they're currently using, because typically in social studies there's a textbook, but oftentimes it's not used because the information changes and or it's just not the main source of where teachers are getting their information from.
Easy read. Frederick Class Jeff, The Law, 35 pages. One of the toughest reads ever. Would be great for a class like this.
Please send it to me. I would love to take a look at it. Thank you.
Okay, Tom?
Yeah, so I just have two questions. The first is, I think kind of this is what you were hinting at. This is not the only resource that these educators are going to be using in this class, correct?
No.
For instruction and dialogue and narrative. and so on and so
When
forth.
you talk about resources, obviously the teacher would be pulling
Sure.
from a variety of resources, but when we talk about textbooks that have to come before the board, this obviously would fit that bill.
Right, because you did describe it as a resource, so I was just thinking there's
Yep.
obviously other resources that
Yes,
are being.
there are.
They're being used. And then my last, I think I know the answer, this is an elective.
Correct.
So parents have an opportunity to get a vibe for what the course is about and then decide whether or not this is something that they feel is appropriate for their child.
Yes, and with all of our courses, teachers send home a syllabus for the course. And let's just say a parent gets the syllabus, takes a look at it and says, you know what, this is not what I want my kid to be involved in. We can always make changes to students' schedules if it needs to happen. Like, we want to be transparent with our families on what the content is going to be for any course that we teach.
So just a quick follow-up on that, Renee. So before they sign up for it, parents have the opportunity to have access to what the course is about.
There's a course description
Got it.
that they learn.
And then if they want to know more, they just contact.
Absolutely,
Got it. Okay.
absolutely. And then once, typically on the first day of class, the syllabuses will go home with students for those courses.
Okay, thank you.
So just two additional comments. So just to emphasize again, this does not replace the core. To Renee's point, there's always areas that we can continue to improve, which we do. I think, it's not 100% fair to put all your eggs in the basket related to state assessments, because those also have changed over the course of the last several years. And that creates another issue that we examine on a regular basis. We're more interested in obviously looking at that content to address those skills and areas that students are less accessible. And then I would say the other piece that I would like to point out, given the fact that this is an elective, if there are parents and community members for that matter, the board does have a policy 8330, which does address public complaints about the curriculum and or instructional materials and or controversial issues. So if at any point in the course of this being offered, if issues come up, there's a process they follow. They go to the classroom teacher. If they're not satisfied there, they go to the building principal, to the Office of Curriculum Instruction, to eventually the superintendent. And if there's still an issue at that point, it comes back to the board. But I do think that part of that policy that the board has adopted does clearly articulate the teacher's role in presenting curriculum and making sure that classrooms and content is presented in an impartial and an objective manner, which I think speaks to the fact that other resources are obviously utilized in order to allow for discussion, healthy discussion, regarding topics that may be, quote unquote, controversial in the eyes of some. So I think, that's what we believe our responsibility is, to ensure that students have access to engage in those healthy conversations in a way that's appropriate, speaking to the seal of civic readiness and other, just being a good citizen when you think about our strategic plan and what it means to be a student who leads this district. So.
And I don't disagree with you, Joe. I can't stand standardized tests. I think they're absurd. I think there's no, it's impossible. They're impossible to norm. They're impossible to dissect. They're impossible to apply anywhere in the actual educational environment where true academics are being delivered and critical thinking is being challenged. They don't mean a thing, but they matter in Albany because there are funding formulas and there are standards that have to be satisfied, and I get all that. And like I said earlier, I'm not opposed to a course like this. I would love to see more focus on the core. At the same time, yeah, it's just an elective. And that's actually another reason I'm not terribly concerned. I'm more concerned with the math and science and the English and the social studies and some of the arts and things like that. Far more concerned with that. But I am curious to know if we do actually have other electives that present other viewpoints from other political perspectives. Is there a critical course on FDR's Great Deal, the New Deal? Is there anything on the development of antebellum classic capitalism? Where is that stuff? Because that might not be on the regions, but neither is this going to be on the regions. That stuff is equally important, and I haven't seen a single text come this way in the last few years that would have anything to do with any of those classes.
And I think that's just my concern, just not to repeat myself. As a parent, I've had two kids graduate from Baldwinsville. I have a senior next year, and I have a second grader going into third grade. I recognize that I have a particular perspective on things, and I participate actively with my kids at the dinner table to discuss what they're learning. And I know by now, I understand public education. To some degree, I feel like a kid putting his finger over dam on some of the stuff. I'm sitting with my kids by 8th grade saying, wait, what did the social studies teacher say? And I'm having very intentional conversations about a particular philosophy and perspective on things that is rampant in public education and in our universities. I am now having conversations with my second grader about things political that I didn't expect to be having yet. And so I'm just saying, it's coming hard at the kids from a particular perspective. And this is it. This book is exactly what I think is wrong in some ways. And so, but I would love, and again, a lot of people would debate me on that and say that I'm wrong. I understand that, but I'm just saying there are some brilliant people, Walter Williams, Jason Riley, Thomas Sowell, some other black authors that have written about intersectionality and discrimination and those things that take the very opposite view of what this book takes. And I haven't had the experience where I see my kids getting it in public education. They're getting this a lot. That's all I want to say. And then, so I wanted to say it publicly as we're talking about this particular book, because here I see it again. A whole class on intersectionality with this book that literally claims that capitalism is the problem. And with anecdotal evidence, not academic. And I'm looking at history and saying, bar none, not even close, the place where discriminated against and impoverished people are doing the best throughout the history of the world, not even a close second, is in the very systems that this book tears down and critiques. And where they are doing the worst is in the systems that this book purports to want to have. And so I would just love that perspective in the classroom, and I actually am not confident that it's there. And it could be where teachers are getting it from being taught how to be teachers, I get that. But I just, again, this is why a lot of people, I think, like me, that take their kids out of public school and go to private schools. But I love Baldwinsville, and I have not done that. But I don't want to be the only one sitting at the dinner table giving my kids the other perspective. I'll stop.
I have a question. Has there been any complaints or issues with this course since it's started?
This is a new course. We have not received any comments, to my knowledge, from staff in that building and or students. I think with any new course, until you get into the teaching and learning that takes place, I mean, at that point, there could be some questions that are brought forward, and if they are, then we'll certainly keep the board apprised of that information, and I would refer those individuals to our policy that's in place, if that is the case. I mean, I'd like to be optimistic and say that that's not gonna be the case, but I mean, there's always, multiple perspectives, and, we are not gonna keep that from you. If we do hear any complaints, we'll bring that forward and make you aware, whether it's publicly in a meeting or during a weekly letter. Or I should say that a lot of times people just email the board, so you might get more information than I did, so that also is an option.
So to Jeremy's point about, people pulling their kids to private schools because of this type of thing. So interestingly, my daughter, who just recently left Dartmouth as a college admissions officer and now is working for a private high school where it costs $70,000 to send your 9 through 12 kid to, she said, "Mom, you're getting what a kid in a private school, kind of an education in public school setting." And she said, this is a very common course, but to your point, right, families, that's why it's an elective, right? Because families want to have choice. They want to have that type of choice in terms of what do I want my student to engage in. But she thought that was very interesting, because I too also have dinner conversations about what's happening in education with my kids, even though she's 28 now. So, but I just thought I'd throw that out there.
Well, and another thing that's worth mentioning, yeah, I mean, in a case like this, like I said, it's an elective class. You vote with your feet, which I think is kind of ironic when you consider the fact that that's fundamentally a market idea. Not at all in agreement with the theme of this book. But there's also something to be said for, it's an elective course, and kids will learn what they learn, right? I guess the best way to say this is, this book talks a lot about capitalism, and it isn't terribly favorable. My greatest fear is that kids will walk out of Baldwinsville Central Schools, they'll get their diploma, and they'll cross the stage, and they'll walk down those stairs, and they won't know the origin of the term capitalist. I'm not sure, I don't want to be mean about this, I'm not sure how many of us here know the origin of the term capitalist. The term capitalist is Karl Marx's label for exploitive economic engagement, capital-driven society. The term capitalist is a Marxist idea. It didn't come from a bunch of market-based thinkers. Market-based thinkers used the term market economy until Marx developed his theory. So, that's the cores. That's what I'm most concerned with.
So let me just point out, was it Marx or Lenin that said, religion is the opiate of the masses? So I don't put stock in everything they say, okay? So moving this along, is anybody who hasn't spoken yet have an opinion on this? Okay, so this, I guess the biggest concern here would be that this is not presented as doctrine, as the law, that this is an option, and there's many opinions here, right? Which I certainly trust our educators to have that view, so, okay. Okay, any other new comments? Okay, shall we do a show of hand vote here then? Or we really need that? Pardon? Okay, okay, those in favor? Aye. Those opposed? Okay, so the motion did carry, and I appreciate open remarks because that's the way we learn. That's the way we learn. Thank you. Okay, moving on to another question. Resolve the Board of Education approve the Baldwinsville Central School District policies, series 1,000, 3,000, 5,000, and 7,000 pursuant to the attached. So, Andrew? Luke? These updates are all in line with the law changes, so that it puts us again fully in line with what the new regulations are.
That is correct.
And any other discussion here? Probably everybody's aware of this.
I just wanted to say something
I
real quick.
apologize.
No, you're fine. I don't know, there was an email sent, I don't know if anyone's able to attend, but there's an indoor air quality monitoring seminar that's being held by the National School Boards Association. It's tomorrow afternoon, and that kind of goes along with, where is it, the policy 5686. So I just wanted to bring it up since they kind of go together.
And I wanted to just let the board know as well that regarding the implementation of the electronic device changes policy, the quote-unquote cell phone restrictions, the district did receive, or we will receive, basically after we attest to compliance, approximately $27,500 worth of funding to help with the implementation of this for the purchase of either pouches or new lockers or things of that nature. So I just wanted to let you know that that was the district share of the 13.5 or $14 million, whatever that dollar amount was allocated in the state budget.
Not meant to be a snarky question, but the sounding a little snarky. $27,000 is a lot of cell phone pouches. Is the money, is it earmarked specifically for that, or can it be things maybe related to that?
So it can be for storage devices, or it could be used for training. The way that we have planned on, given the fact we've got some construction going on as well, we're going to identify a usage for the pouch and lockers, because we are replacing lockers in portions of our building. So believe it or not, the cost of a locker is a lot more than you think it is. You know, I don't know how many we'd be able to get with the $27,000, but that being said, those pouches are unique in how we envision using the pouches. There are schools that are buying those pouches for every student, and you come in, and I think that's a lot of money, and that's well beyond what has been allocated for us. We plan on, as I mentioned at the last board meeting with this policy, you see there, students are expected to kind of keep the devices in their locker. If it gets to a point where they're caught with a device later on, or is part of the process, where they're utilizing it when they're not supposed to, then it might be that they're utilizing one of those pouches when they come into the building at the beginning of the day. It's a step within the process before parents come and pick it up or it gets returned back. That's where our code of conduct folks have put information out there. So
Are those I'm assuming those are the lockable pouches, which, I get it. Like, if you've gone to a comedy show, they use them. A lot of comedians will make you lock your phone in a lockable pouch, then they have to unlock it for you on the way out. That would cause,
Yeah, there are schools that are doing that for every
Massive
student.
process for
We're
the
not,
school.
yeah, we're not doing that. That would be, a step in the process for, potentially those repeat offenders that need
Yeah.
that additional, safety measure so they don't get themselves caught up. I mean, we're not looking at buying thousands of those. It might be a few for, the secondary buildings where we would potentially, see there being issues. But again, as I said before, students are just expected to keep them in their lockers, out of sight, out of mind. People aren't gonna have an issue. But the legislation does say it's not supposed to be in your backpack if you're carrying your backpack. So we also have to be mindful of that.
As you always do, you're gonna let us know how that all shakes out.
Oh, absolutely, yep.
Okay, any other questions on those policies? Proceed to vote then, those in.
One
Oh,
question, I'm
go
sorry,
ahead.
I wasn't gonna ask this question, I read through, the first time I read through this, I saw this and I was like, I'm not sure how we implement this. And I wasn't gonna ask, but Joe opened the door for me right there. So, under the expectations for specific purposes section, there are items 1, 2, and 3, and then you fall down a little more, and there are 3 bulleted points there. When votes could be used. The second bullet there, with administrative approval, the teacher is authorized the use of specific devices for a particular activity after which the device must be stowed per this policy. I don't wanna drag anybody into the depths of minutia for administrative stuff. And we've said we're trying not to make this policy pursuant to state law, sort of a disciplinary issue, right? How is that spot there specifically sort of meant to be executed? Because the student's walking down the hall with their cell phone, and the teacher says, hey, you can't have that phone. He says, but I'm on my way to English class, and we're supposed to have it.
Yeah, so I think you're gonna see a lot of consistency among the staff because they're ultimately they want this in place. I mean, you saw NICET was a big proponent of pushing for this with the governor. So I don't think you're going to see a lot of teachers getting approval for flexibility to use it in the classroom, especially when we have the Chrome devices, the Chromebooks that do the exact same thing. If you need to search something, you're on our system, you're using your Chrome book to do that work. But if for some reason there was a need for a class to utilize a device, they would get permission, obviously the classroom teacher through the building administrator. It would be communicated to those students. They would be permitted obviously to bring the device for that purpose and that purpose only. It would have to be communicated that it's out of sight, at all times prior to getting to that class. But I really, knowing what can be done on a Chromebook, I don't know that there would be a need for students. But given the fact that the law is very clear that we have to provide various options, it's in there. But I don't see a lot of people taking advantage of that as far as our instructional staff.
And wouldn't you say, Joe, that much of this is going to be trial and error? There's going to be situations that are gonna come up because it's all fluid, right? And they'll figure it out as they go.
100%
That's why you
agree.
trust the faculty and staff to make those
Yeah,
decisions.
we mentioned last time, we've created enough flexibility with this policy that gives us some options. We're not looking to, as the state legislation indicates, suspend students over and over. We hopefully will get kids to comply and, teach them the right way of how to, be responsible if they have these devices. And hopefully they make good choices and we won't see any issues. Time will tell though, and we will reflect and regroup and make adjustments as needed, and we'll keep you posted.
Okay, I think we're ready. Those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. Now we have resolved Board of Education accept the donation from the McNamara Elementary School PTA to purchase benches for the school grounds pursuant to the attached. Don? them, I think. Any thoughts? Of those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries. And now, resolve the District of Education approve the 2025-2026 Board of Education district goals pursuant to the attached. Luke? Andrew? And this is, obviously we discussed these at some length prior. This is the kind of little more condensed piece, which I think was adequate. But any thoughts or questions here? Okay,
All good?
yeah, we'll proceed. Those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. And resolve the Board of Education approve the Board of Education standing committee assignments for 2025-2026 school year pursuant to the attached. Don?
Second.
Tom? Everybody see their name in the right place? Okay.
That's on there.
Okay. Well, those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Resolve the Board of Education approve a 0% change to the dental plan premium rate for the Baldwinsville Central School District for 2025-2026 school year.
So moved.
Andrew?
Zero.
Who I have?
Jeremy.
Jeremy? Yeah, this one, I don't think we'll even ask for discussion on this one. Okay, those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. Resolved, the Board of Education will approve the Baldwinsville Central School District lunch prices for the 2025-2026 school year per the attached. Someone, Luke, and what, Tom? And you want to give us a quick rundown?
Yeah,
There's
so
5% increase.
We're required to have an increase.
We want everybody to know there's still free lunch,
Correct.
free breakfast for everybody, but we are required to have published prices.
Correct. In the event that students also want another additional meal, but based on federal government and also the New York State budget that was adopted, there is no charge for at least one meal, breakfast and lunch for all students in New York State.
I have a question. I've been thinking about this for a while, so I said, you know what, I'm gonna bring it up. The elementary schools get the little carton of milk. What size milk does a high school get, a high school student get?
It should be the same size, yeah.
So, if a student who is 3 times the size of an elementary student is still growing and would like a second milk, we'll just say a plain non-sugar filled milk, do they have to buy that second milk, or is that included in the state's?
I believe they have to buy another milk. We can double check that with Donna and let you know. But my understanding is that the way that this works, we have a registered dietitian that works with the district and the food service folks, so they're creating these meals based on the dietary restrictions and requirements that are based on the age and size of students. So they're gonna create the meal based on what they should, and if they're only getting so much milk, then it's gonna balance out with other items that are a little bit larger portion. And then obviously we have the drinking fountains and other access to water, which is supposed to be a good thing too throughout the day.
So maybe a state thing, because I know they control a lot of the diets in this state, but perhaps something to look into. Something I was thinking of when
That's a good
a
thought.
couple high school students were happy with the meals, but overhearing some neighbors of that age, it sounds like the beverage was a little bit on the light side.
We'll bring that up and we'll see what happens. Donna can take that to her group and, obviously, we'll look to see if we can do anything. I mean, we certainly will give if we can.
So there are some spots in the cafeterias that if you have something on your plate that you don't want, you can put it over in like a common space, and then kids who want the extra apple, the extra whatever. So I'm not sure if milk goes into that, but I wouldn't be surprised, so that, we're not wasting, because you don't wanna see that stuff get dumped, because a lot of that is very wasteful.
No, it's excellent that they're able to share with those that want it if they're not gonna eat it, but, just, the milk was one of the things I was thinking about for a bit.
Yeah.
Thank you. Interesting, yeah.
So I just wanna make sure I get this question on the record. It looks to me like this sheet of paper says that a pint of milk
There you go.
is 85 cents. So, and who's gonna know this best? Maybe Renee's gonna know this best for us, she's the curriculum director. And there's two pints in a quart and four quarts in a gallon, it's
Joe,
8 pints
yeah.
of milk. Is that right? Is it 2 pints per quart and 4 per gallon?
I did grow up on a farm and I drank right out of the bulk tank. I never had to worry about pints, quarts, or anything else.
And I bet it didn't cost you 85 cents either. So, that puts a gallon of milk at $6.80. Just wanna make sure that, in the interest of full disclosure, in front of, our taxpaying audience and all the moms and dads that are here, like me, and all the others out there, I'm gonna be voting no on this. And it's going to be exclusively because of the outrageous 85-cent per pint box of milk.
I will say, just real quick, Upstate Farms whole milk at Tops is $5.69 currently. Just to put it in perspective.
I rest my case, thank you. How about that?
Okay. I believe we've expressed the questions and the opinions, so, let's move to a vote, then, those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed?
No.
Got it. Okay. So noted. Okay, resolved that the Board of Education approve the District Central School District Board of Education approve the Baldwinsville Central School District Safety Plan pursuant to the attached.
So,
Don? Luke? Our annual, any changes to this?
A couple of quick changes to comply with the heat temperature in the classroom to comply with the law. We did do the public hearing, we've had a 30-day comment period, so we've met all the requirements in bringing this forward at this point in time. Plenty of opportunities for stakeholder feedback.
Anything else, thoughts? Those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. Resolved, the Board of Education approve the revisions to the Baldwinsville Central District Code of Conduct for the 2025-2026 year pursuant to the attached. Tom?
Second.
Wayne? And obviously electronic devices are in there.
That is the only change.
Only change?
Page 22 through 24 related to the new law.
Okay. Discussion? Those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. Resolved, the Board of Education approve the fund balance management plan pursuant to the attached. Luke? Wayne? How about 20 words, Tiffany?
So this is the fund balance management plan that was reviewed with the audit committee back in May, and it's being brought forward for your review and action. There really were no significant changes. We are anticipating some fund balance at the end of the 2025 school year, and we have reserves outlined in here with current balances, as well as any recommendations for change to this point. We obviously still have to have our audit review of our balances, and we will have for review and action at the August meeting recommendations for use and funding of reserves.
And for instance, I think I recall that the disability premium reserve is pretty high. Am I correct? So we could move funds out of there to another reserve. Some, and And by the way, some of the reserve we can move funds out of, others we can't. And
Right,
I'm
some
not
need
in a
voter
position to tell you
Yeah.
what you can and can't right now.
Yeah, some funds need voter authorization. There is the new capital project reserve, outlined in here that was approved at the May, annual vote. So we're hoping to fund, that, as of June 30th, 2025, and that'll be on the board agenda in August.
And we have used some reserve money in next year's budget, correct?
Yes, so there is a budgeted reserve use as well as an increase in the appropriated, fund balance for next school year.
Any other questions, thoughts? Those in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. Resolve the Board of Education approve the emergency application of herbicide vegetation control treatments pursuant to the attached. Andrew? Luke? Is this, I don't know, is this happening quickly?
Yes, we're looking at August 2nd with a rain date of August 9th. We will publicize this so that people can avoid those areas.
And kids won't be on, those areas?
Correct. August 2nd, I believe, is a weekend.
It's a Sunday, I think.
Saturday.
Yeah, Saturday.
Yeah.
Okay. Questions, thoughts? Those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. Resolve the Board of Education authorize submission and endorsement of the proposed resolution and bylaw amendment pursuant to the attached.
So moved.
Wayne?
Sorry.
Thank you, Luke. And this is our resolution for?
This is our
school boards?
resolution for the New York State School Boards. I think they place them based on the order they come in, so I think the fact that we're toward the end of we'll probably be at the end unless it's something that they are endorsing, but we'll keep our fingers crossed. I mean, it does make sense, and appreciate the board for bringing this forward. We'll get this submitted first thing tomorrow morning.
And we're gonna keep giving Jeremy resolutions as long as he keeps getting them passed, right? Jeremy and Sam passed last year's first, I think last year's might have been the first resolution we ever submitted that was accepted. Yeah. So, batting 1,000, we gotta keep feeding him resolutions. In my view, this ought to be easier than last year's, but I don't know. Who knows? So, okay. Any other thoughts? Just as a reminder, so the idea is to establish a reserve for health insurance accounts, because that could fluctuate a lot, and if you had a reserve for it, you got hit with a tough one, or if you wanted to try to do changes in your plan and you had a year or two that was gonna be more expensive, you needed some money, this would allow you to put some money aside to work on that, so, okay. Seems like reasonable fiscal planning. Okay, those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. Resolve the Board of Education approve the resolution to authorize RIC Risk Operations Center to enter into data privacy agreements pursuant to the attached.
So.
Jeremy, Tom, you want to give us a quick one?
Yes, this is all related to data privacy, and so there's various RICs, regional information centers across the state. RIC 1 is the state group that is helping all school districts within our region manage data security and privacy, and so this agreement is with them. We did approve this when we were asked to do that back midway through the year when this was established, and it has to happen on an annual basis, so that's why it's here on our first meeting of the new school year.
Any questions, discussion? Okay, thank you, Dr. Barbary. proceed to vote then. Those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. Resolve the Board of Education approve the Baldwinsville Central School District's Eldon Elementary School Comprehensive Education Plan, which will serve as the district comprehensive improvement plan for the 2025-2026 school year, pursuant to the attached. We have Don and, is it Tom?
Tom.
Yeah, thank you. So, just to reiterate, I'm gonna have to use the old terms, because I don't know the new terms well enough. But, all our schools were in good standing, except Eldon missed by that much because a couple of kids, they have a sampling group of 8 or something, and we didn't quite pass on that particular sampling group. So they're on, I'll use the old improvement plan. I don't think that's alarming. We do have to address it, and I'm sure plans are being developed for that. Well, I guess this is the plan, isn't it? So, okay. Sorry, I was a little slow on that. Sorry, guys. Okay, any other thoughts or questions? Okay, we'll proceed to vote then. Those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. And now, the one we've been waiting for. Resolve the Board of Education approve the resolution approving the amendment to the employment agreement for the superintendent of schools, Dr. Josephine DeBarbery, pursuant to the attached. Don, Luke? I think everybody knows this, so I don't know if there's any questions or discussion. Okay.
Thank you.
Those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Okay, so just, what this essentially does is give Joe a 4% raise for this coming year. And we have extended the contract for 1 year, which keeps him on a 5-year contract, okay? And congratulations, well deserved.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
Okay.
Even that man's actually a job.
Thank you, Matt.
Man, good. Okay, so that brings us, after quite a while, to roundtable. And I guess, Joe, for the first one, you're on for
Yes.
construction update?
I will make this short and sweet just to keep things moving along, but we're gonna go through a few of the slides. I went around and took some pictures today, which wanted to just give you an update. We got a lot going on. As soon as that opens, it's a pretty big file. So we're on pretty much on track with where we believe we need to be. You want to try to get refresh again?
Yeah.
What you're going to see when the photographs open is you will see where we are with the Ray Middle School construction. So the access road should be complete by August, August 1, 2025. So we'll have a new way for parents to enter and deliveries to enter into that campus. Our transportation staff and school resource officers been working with Mike Pope, the principal at Ray Middle School, so that we can get that plan communicated to families at the start of the school year. Also, when that comes up, the second set of photographs are photos of the Derby Junior High School construction project and the main offices that are being relocated, as well as the security office at the new front entrance on the circle should be completed by the end of August for the start of the school year. You will see pictures of the gymnasium at Derby Junior High School. We're anticipating an August/September opening of that. We're at the point now where they're waiting for the humidity to drop just a little bit within the flooring so that they can get the wood in there to acclimate, and then they'll install that and then do the painting. But other than that, you'll see from the photographs when it arrives that we're in good shape there for that. Worst case scenario, it should be available at the beginning of October, but we're hopeful that it's for the start of the school year. Also at Derby, you'll see.
Oh, just curious. So the gym, just curious, athletics, high school athletics starting this year, will be,
sorry.
high school athletic events this year will be in the Derby gym. Is that pretty much how it's gonna roll?
That is correct, yep. JV varsity contests will all be at Derby for this year and next year. And you're gonna see once this, I mean, you'll see from the pictures when it does load, I mean, that gymnasium is better than our current high school
Right.
gymnasium. So it's gonna be a very, very,
So that's a good point. It's
awesome
like,
place.
it's an improvement this year for the high school athletics, and then an even greater improvement once the Baker gym is done.
Correct, once the
So that's great.
Johnson
Yeah.
gymnasium gets done, yes. Derby new cafeteria, which is the old gymnasium, and kitchen area, that'll be ready latest date, May, June of 2026. You'll also notice there's been some exterior painting at Derby to match the new facade when you see the front circle. We've gotten rid of the mauve and some of the purple coloring that's on the front of that building.
You didn't go to something like red or something, did you?
That would no, it's like a gray, it's a neutral, it all matches. Also, what you'll notice, Baker High School construction, the window replacement, that front cafeteria with security windows, which unique, and the pictures show you on the slide. You can see out, but you can't see in, which is a pretty cool feature. And I think it looks really good. And when the rest of the work at Baker is done, all of those science classroom windows get replaced. So it's really going to change the look of that building and create obviously more efficiencies. And then last but not least, there's a couple of photographs of the demolition that's ongoing at Baker. Dave and I enjoyed our walk today. It's quite amazing to see the lockers and the ceilings and all of the areas that they're just ripping away items so that they can start to deconstruct the old gymnasium as well as the small gymnasium, the big gymnasium, the small gymnasium, to make way for the pool and the new Coach Johnson gymnasium. So a lot happening there. So far, asbestos abatement's come back good, so we're in a good place with that.
What do they do where the pool was? They have to fill that in?
Yeah, that'll be filled in, and then they have reinforced structural beams that get placed to raise that floor up. Yeah, because remember, there will be storage and there'll be future areas for expansion underneath the gymnasium floor and part of it with some auxiliary space in future projects. So I apologize that it's not coming up on the live stream, but it's on there for the public to view. So that's the construction update.
Awesome, thanks.
Yeah. I closed mine just to hopefully help with
Okay, then
loading.
the next item was just agenda planning times. It wasn't maybe as convenient for everybody, so we did have an option to change agenda planning. I don't think we'll probably do that. I'm not sure. So it is, we're currently having it at 8 o'clock on Thursdays, but to do it at 8 o'clock, the agenda has to be ready the prior day and everything has to be in place. So for some people, 4 p.m. on Wednesday would be more convenient.
I've just changed my name to some people.
Some people,
And,
okay.
yeah, I think it's
So
interesting.
we just, we'll go by consensus, but is there a feeling one way or another?
I just have a quick question. Is this gonna affect the administration's ability to have the agenda ready and all the papers and all that kind of stuff, or either way it's fine?
It won't make it less convenient because we have the work done prior to leaving on Wednesday, so it is what it is. I mean, it doesn't matter to us. You know, we work for you obviously, and we're willing to be flexible. And even if you choose to change it to 4 o'clock on Wednesday, which is perfectly fine, if it's easier for some, you know, the next
Change it
day
back.
at 8 a.m. because of schedules and conflicts, we're happy to move it. So we're able to be flexible either way.
Yeah, and I think, Joe, you and your cabinet have been flexible all year for us. Just this past week, we flipped it from Thursday to Wednesday morning at 11:30. So the cabinet and Joe have been very flexible with us. So I think it's just trying to work with the folks that have to be in early, and so we were just trying to make some adjustments.
So So, Wayne, that works for you, okay?
That would work better for me.
Okay,
I can
that's
make
what I
either
thought.
work,
Would you
but yeah.
take off in the morning?
Mhm.
Okay, and then Jeremy, is that a problem for you sometimes, or not Jeremy?
It depends. I'm always like, it depends, but I can make either one work. If I know it's coming, I can usually make it
So,
work.
and you do see on the list, you see how the agenda planning, the name isn't, your name is on the list, you just gotta look at that list that's, is that always in the Friday letter, I think?
Yes.
B-
She puts it
BOE
on-
activities
she'll
in
put it on
Friday
the
letter.
calendar too.
Look at that, and that,
Yeah, I usually get a calendar invite, so,
Yep.
yeah.
okay.
So we haven't done that yet because we're waiting
Yeah,
for
I
this
was just gonna
discussion.
say, I didn't see it in the
So-
calendar.
But you have
It
it
was
on
in
the
the
agenda.
consent agenda.
We do.
Yeah.
Okay,
So we're changing it.
so we'll
to-
plan on Wednesdays at 4 PM then.
And if it doesn't work for somebody,
Is
you
that-
let,
Is that a problem, Carrie? Shirley?
We don't want to disrupt Karen's
Sometimes it
day.
will be with my, I'll figure it out.
yeah, but, and she doesn't have to be at every single one.
No, no.
Worst case scenario, we're okay.
I can't be
There's
Dave's like, wait a minute.
There's always personnel, so Dave will be there. But we'll make it work, so we'll assume it's 4 o'clock.
voting yes to.
We'll assume it's
Yeah, no
4
voting
o'clock.
rights.
We have no voting rights. We're assuming it's 4 o'clock, and then if you have, a need to have it changed to 8 AM
Afternoon court, it's a
the
problem or
next
something, let us
morning,
know, yeah.
we can do that as well with an advance notice.
And I think also said with that is that if by chance you can't make it, please give us a heads up, maybe a day or two ahead of time, then we can backfill a little bit and just maybe switch some things out.
And I was gonna say too, I know in the past people have traded, so it's like, oh, I got an appointment this time, Don, I'll take yours next time, and then we'll swap or something like that.
Okay, so I guess we do have the census, so hope that'll work better for everybody then. You have a question?
Can I bring something else up in roundtable? Are we done with the roundtable?
Well,
there's
actually,
more.
you got
Sorry.
the convention,
Sorry.
yeah, New York State School Boards Convention is it the 22nd of October?
I should have, I just put October 2025, pulling it up right now.
Okay. And that registration opens in mid-August, I think. And remember, we have to let Christy know ahead of time, because she has to jump on and get you registered, or you're not gonna be in the hotel where the convention is. You may be 8 streets over, for all we know,
So it looks like it's October 23rd through the 25th. I believe on the 22nd is the pre-conferences, so assume October 22nd through the 25th.
Well, I think, actually, it's typically that the 23rd is a Thursday, right?
Yeah.
Oh,
So really, it's the 23rd will be the law or the Board Officers Academy, and then the 24th all day. So if you didn't want to go to the law seminar, the board officers, you could come in on Thursday afternoon. Now, they will have the opening thing Thursday night, and then they usually have a speaker then, and then Friday, and then Saturday until, I don't know, noon sometimes.
Anybody that's doing a pre-conference would have to go on Wednesday, because
And you may want to consider going, because there's something on getting a capital project passed that everybody's going to want to see, right?
how about just showing up for support?
Will there be
You can
slides for
heckle.
superintendent
You can heckle, yeah.
presentation?
Probably, yes.
Usually come back Saturday or Sunday?
Saturday afternoon, evening.
So take a look at your schedules and then just let us know, so that we can at least put it on Christie's radar, so when it does open up, we can get the hotels, and then we'll worry about the transportation and what we do for that, after we know who's attending.
So, just to be clear, normally it was Friday, Saturday, Sunday. We did Saturday, Sunday, Monday, left Tuesday last year. They moved that up to Thursday, Friday, Saturday, just
Okay.
like,
Okay.
Yeah.
I saw your brain going.
Yeah, I got it.
So in regards to roundtable,
Well, do we want to,
I'm sorry.
I just want to know who thinks they're going to be attending.
So
Just so we have that right now, so
Yeah.
we're only short two, so we can make those phone calls and maybe get that to Christina.
Okay.
Like everybody
I
hears
good point.
I think the others may have said earlier that they were interested, so we'll just say that both
Sam
and Christie.
always goes, and I think Christie certainly went last year, I imagine.
I would assume all of us at this point.
So we appreciate full board attending, so that's great.
So, items for roundtable usually are put into agenda planning and then listed. So, we'll make, with the board's consensus, we'll make an exception, but that's the policy, so I just wanna
Yep.
state that. Okay, go ahead.
So I just wanted to, learning the hope of the alumni after hearing after hearing David Stewart speak about Coach Sanfilippo. Their hope to have, to be able to do an alumni event and to be able to honor Coach at the opening game. I just wanted to briefly bring up, it would be nice if we could put it on the agenda for the August 4th meeting, to do that resolution. And I guess the only addition to what David said that I would add is, I think it should be a special and a unique thing when we name something after somebody. And I know we just did this for Leo Johnson. I would say, in regards to Coach Sanfilippo, he's very unique. 40 years as a coach since 1985, and beyond coaching and being an educator, I think off the field stuff for students with special needs and his scuba diving stuff and the impact on students is unique. He's uniquely situated to be someone we do this for. So I think it would be nice for them, if we are going to do it, for them to be able to do it at that opening game. I know the field's going to be redone and nothing will happen physically, although we could probably put up a plaque if we wanted to. But I was just hoping to make sure we had it on the agenda for the 4th.
Yeah, I just hope, it would be nice if they'd get us a petition before that, so we've got a reason to put it on. Because we just, you don't want the board just putting stuff on, I think. You want them putting on a request.
So just another idea, I mean, you're saying opening day or opening game. What about homecoming, when all your alumni?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what has gone into the alumni's thought about bringing everybody in for opening game, but we could certainly talk to them about that. So I know that, and I know Tony Saraceni's been a part of this. I know he requested David to come tonight because Dave's got a football history and a close relationship with Coach. But I can try for us to get some insight into what is the event they're trying to plan for opening game, and would they, if there's an issue, are they considering homecoming? Yeah.
No, I was just curious.
Yeah.
And I would say, once we get the petition, similar to what happened last time, when we follow that same process, which I think is important, they spoke. I ended up getting a copy of that. The board got a copy of the petition and the request, and then at that point, based on feedback, we made the decision, or you made the decision to have it on the agenda, and we'll create a resolution. So we're following the same process that the board used previously.
Yeah, I just wanted to mention that we want to make sure we're following that same process, because we did amend our policy to re-allow it, and I just, everything he says phenomenal. Coach sounds like an absolutely uniquely suited person, but just want to make sure we are following that process of bringing it to the superintendent's office, getting it pushed to us officially, so that it can be agended. So as long as we're not deviating because they're hoping for a quicker timetable.
I agree with you on that one, for sure. I was just gonna ask, just because I'm not 100% familiar with the policy, does it have to be petitioned, or is it something that school administration or the board could suggest?
No, it doesn't have to be, but I think, given the fact that it shows that there's community support for something, I mean, certainly the board has the flexibility with the policy to just name after anybody that you see or feel is, provided significant contribution to the district in some way, shape, or form. So, but being consistent to what happened the last time, this is what process we're, quote unquote, trying to follow.
It just feels like it'd be a nice gesture for the district to do it on the behalf of the district, saying, hey, But also I know in other conversations, was there any other plans or anything like that to honor him in any other way, or not yet?
The only other recognition that has happened at this point was at the athletic banquet and Hall of Fame induction. There was a special moment where he received the plaque, and there was a former athlete who spoke. I was aware of the fact that they were trying to coordinate kind of the changing of the guards between Coach Sanfilippo and now Tyler Rouse being that first event. That's probably why they mentioned the first game, given that transition. They saw that as an opportunity. But to the points that have been mentioned here, maybe there's a different date. So I can have that conversation if you feel that we're moving in that direction. I can certainly reach out to them tomorrow morning and find out what their intentions are, get the actual petition, and then share that with the board, but then make a decision about, is it going to be for the opening game or the later point, whatever is most convenient for, I think, drawing people in is what, if we move forward in that direction.
I guess, I think my thought would be, unless there's a reason we couldn't get it on the agenda in August, if it was approved and there's no reason not to approve it, then at least they would have the option. If they wanted to do it opening game, if they wanted to do it homecoming, they could decide that. And I think, to Wayne's point, I know they'll forward the petition to us and anything else they have, but I think we could formally probably consider the request from the public comment that we would adopt a resolution from David is that request as well. And then take the paperwork when they give it to us.
I'm just cautious about the board taking it upon themselves to name things. I would much prefer that it be in reaction to a public request where there's quite a bit of support for that.
Yes.
I just don't think it's part of our prerogative to just go around naming things because we thought somebody did something good. And then we have another coach who has 4 years too, so, how do we choose? So look, I just feel much more comfortable with honoring something through the public support for it. First one off. Okay. Any other thoughts there? So, if not, I think, believe it or not, resolve the Board of Education into executive session for collective negotiations pursuant to the Taylor Law, discussing Baldwinsville Educational Support Professionals Association VESPA contract for the purpose of discussing the employment history of a particular person. Andrew, you moved. You didn't.
So moved.
Thank you, Jeremy. Thank you, Jeremy. Andrew, you're done. Luke, second. Those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Okay, 5 minutes and then we'll go into executive.
That was proud.
You're done, Andrew. You're done.
Recording stopped.